All Blacks, Springboks, game number 2, folks, in Wellington. It's not too far away, and there are some changes. The All Blacks squad has not been named yet, but they do have some players confirmed out and some guys who are back available. We'll go through them, plus the Bok team back to being announced on a Monday. So Razor will have a few days to have a look at the Boks before selecting his own team, although they did ask him if that's any advantage, and he said, kind of not really. It's a bit of awareness, but they're not going to be, going and changing everything based on how the Boks have picked their side. For the All Blacks, the guys who are unavailable, the two that got injured at the weekend, Cody Taylor with that HIA and Emoni Narawa with that rib injury. Unfortunate news for both those guys, especially Narawa, because he's had so few tests for the ABs. He's never really had a full run of like back-to-back games. I was really keen to see him get a go on the right wing ahead of Sevu Reece. He seemed to start the game pretty well, but who knows how it would have gone if he'd been able to stay fit. It's just bad luck for him. So he's out, and Taylor with the HIA, he's not going to be available. That sucks because he's a 100-plus cap guy, and him and Tokiaho are a really good combo. Obviously, that means Tokiaho gets the start, and then George Bell has come into the squad. They did ask if Alsofo Almua was potentially available, but no, he's going through HIA issues of his own. So it's going to be Tokiaho getting the start, and Taylor sitting until I guess we get into some Bledisloe Cup action. A couple of guys back available, though. Caleb Clarke and Luke Jacobson. I feel like Clark's path back into the starting 15 is maybe an easier road than Jacobson's, because Simon Parker played pretty bloody well at the weekend and the back row looks competitive, whereas we've just lost one winger to injury. Leroy Carter is one of the uncapped wingers. There is, I feel like, more potential for Caleb Clarke to slot back in an All Blacks starting 15 this coming weekend. I would like to see it. I want Caleb to get a crack. I don't feel like we've gotten the best out of the wingers just yet in this Rugby Championship. We'll see if Razor agrees or not. He obviously knows a fair bit more than I do. And Luke Jacobson, like I mentioned, he is that Swiss Army knife player. So if he wants to do something creative, you can put him on the bench to cover the entire back row. But I just feel like it's a tough one. Maybe you do give Simon Parker a break because he's had two tests. Maybe you let him sit in the squad and keep learning and don't try to burn him out too quickly. But I feel like keep playing him because he's looked the business in the two tests that we have seen him play. Some of the other guys who are back on the road to recovery are the halfbacks. I don't know that any of them are going to be fit. Roygaard is certainly not going to be fit, and I think they've all but confirmed Ratsama is not going to be fit either. But Hotham is also back with the squad. So all three of the halfbacks are back with the team. So they can't be that far away if they're with the team, but in all likelihood, we may get Christie and Preston once again. They did the job at Eden Park. Will they get the job done in Wellington? Will obviously be one to see, to wait and see. For the Boks, as I said, they've already made their changes. Rassie, although I don't speak Afrikaans, in his press conference, I'm pretty sure he used the phrase high risk, high reward, which would potentially explain some of the lesser experienced or lesser seen combos in this side. And he also talked about energy. And I feel like some of these guys who have been named to start are the ones who showed energy from the bench. Certainly the second half, from a South African point of view, was more encouraging than the first. So the likes of Corbus Reinach swapping with Williams, you feel like that's one of the picks that you saw. I know he defended Grant Williams not getting clean ruck ball after the match, but Reinach looked the business when he came on. He's rewarded with a start. Likewise, Pollard is out. Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu is getting the start. Rassie also talked about wanting to give guys experience playing a place, like Wellington, playing the All Blacks away from home. It's not the kind of thing that you can just do every day of the week. So to give some of the lesser experienced guys a chance to do this is an investment in their future. So Sasha gets a start. Marnie's on the bench and Pollard is out of the 23 entirely. That does also speak to the fact that he's going to be potentially getting a bit more open with the gameplay, because he's picked a very, very attacking-minded backline with the likes of Fassi ahead of LaRue. Individual attacking brilliance, Willems are ahead of De Allende, so maybe a bit more of the footwork, a bit less of the kind of direct carrying, because Willems is quite a playmaker as well. Moody shifting into the midfield adds a fair bit of pace, and that sees Creel out of the 23. He captained the side, Eden Park. And then Ethan Hooker, another one of the inexperienced guys who's going to be getting a start, in front of a hostile Wellington crowd. Although it's interesting because Rassie did seem to speak about Ethan Hooker like he would be more of a midfielder, but he has picked him on the wing where he's been playing most of his club rugby, at least in the most recent season. The forward pack is less altered, like the front row is the same. Why would you change them? They got pretty good dominance, especially at scrum time. But Diaka changing places with Etzebeth. Etzebeth's not even in the 23, which is a rare one. Van Staden, do you feel like in recent times he's had a few starts, but didn't do enough to really say, Coach, I'm the guy that needs to start every week. So Khaleesi back to the flank, and then Jasper Visa back in at number 8. If that guy can keep his nose clean, certainly a big, powerful, straight running, catch the kickoffs, run direct kind of number 8 to have. And you guys have had a lot of players injured or unavailable for whatever reasons in that number 8 jersey in South Africa. He is a number 8. So that's some good news. As I said, as long as the discipline stuff stays fine. Rassie seems to be quite openly, I don't want to say mocking him, but he's quite tongue-in-cheek. This is the second time he's said something a little bit tongue-in-cheek about Jasper's discipline. And that in the press conference, he said he's a professional trainer because he's not been able to play any games. He's not like a professional rugby player. He's just been a professional rugby trainer for the last few weeks. But now he's back available to play. We'll see what he can do with that playing opportunity. But yeah, it's going to be a big one. We'll do a full preview once the All Black squad is named and we see the updated bookies odds and whatnot for predictions and all that jazz. But yeah, it should be a really fascinating one. Again, in the Rugby Championship, it's been a fantastic competition. In the opening 3 rounds, all the games have been really, competitive and had their swings and roundabouts. Subscribe to the channel if you want some more rugby news, stats, all that kind of jazz. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Together.